Yo, Caspians, I'm going to help you make sense of what's been going on with Caspa and where we should see the price moving forward. All right, so this type of bottom formation happening with its macro indicator, it's good to see. Now, we have to also keep in mind that the miners themselves are going to be able to provide a floor value. So we hit rock bottom, literal rock bottom down at 1 cent. Keep in mind this 1 cent didn't go across all of the exchanges. It went across Caspa exchanges that had low liquidity. Okay, so we have that as a rock bottom. We have now rock bottom for Kaspa miners as well. I'll go into that in more detail, but also this type of wick formation, this wick off event. It's basically a accumulation phase, a classic wick off accumulation. Beautiful chart, and he's got some great point. It's a great point to make. I mean, here we go, Ski-Bum showing similarities, the early days of Solana. Check it, went back in 2023. It's very similar to Caspa right now. And you could make all the similarities you want, comparisons across different top projects back in the day, and you could really see the similarities. Dang, there's so many charts to look into. So right here, this type of bottom formation, it's very bullish to see. We're at the very, very bottom of the bandwidth, this oscillator. It doesn't stay down here too long. This is looking on the weekly chart. Look, 1 week, look, all it took was 1 week down here. Down here was just 1 week. 1 week back in 2024, and it blasted back off. Okay, that was basically more inside of a bull market, but here it didn't even have time to bottom. Basically, it just touched it and went straight up. But it could take up to like several weeks. This is 1 week, 2 week, 3 week, 4th week was up. So we could see we could be down here consolidating for another 2 to 3 weeks. It's very possible. It's nice to see this formation. I mean, structural support at 5 cents. I mean, you see it was the last support back down here. It was resistance, which turned into support over here. So 5 cents is a key mark. Check out exchanges to see where the orders are at as well. Okay, so take a look on MEXC. On MEXC, it has, Caspa didn't even drop down to 1 cent. It dropped down to 4.7 cents because there's so much liquidity on MEXC. Like it or not, they're a large entity in the Caspa ecosystem. Large entity or not, like there's a lot of Caspa on MEXC. Let's see exactly how much. About 4% of the supply. They acquired Aquaman status at 1 billion Caspa. It's crazy. So people are holding a lot of Caspa on MEXC. We got to keep withdrawing. Like, come on. So you check down. There's the largest buy orders. The limit buy orders are down at 1 cent. Basically, the nearest support level is 4 cents. And the next would be down to 1 cent. But it's interesting, you go on Kraken, for example, and you see the support is actually at 2.2 cents. 20 million or 22 million Caspa at 2.2 cents. Pretty cool. All right, so if we do see another flash crash for Caspa and across the crypto market, that's what these people are essentially kind of preparing for. Some big money preparing for the off chance that a second crash happens, because this flushed out a lot of liquidity, a lot of buy orders, limit orders, they got flushed out. So there's not as much, it's not as much liquid environment, okay? Especially in these smaller, Caspa is still a small coin. What happens with Bitcoin moving forward? Like, is it going to see structural support at 100,000? It very much could. And it's easier to see over here. Going to this chart over here. I mean, you see it basically touched down at near 100,000 on the last crash, and it bounced back up. Could it maintain the support? It could. Okay, I'm not trying to say it's hard to predict what's going to happen with Bitcoin, but I do have very good news for you. And here again, it bounced off this low Bollinger. I have very good news for you, because let's take a look at some more charts, and you'll see that where's the good stuff? All right, so so we got Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance, it's going down, it's pumping a little bit, nothing too exciting. But look at this. Crypto market cap excluding the top 10. Bruh, we entered bear market territory with that flash crash. Okay, it got eaten up, and we're back all the way up here. Okay, this whole level, this red represents bear market level. The yellow represents, I don't know, something still around the bear market. Support in a bull market, resistance in a bear market. So the fact that we're still all the way up here, it's good, but like the trend is moving up. You see this? The whole trend for crypto is moving up. That's why even if we do have a crash, it's going to be short-lived. It's give us some time. It's going to bounce back up. Again, here, look at this. Total 2 with respect to gold. This is essentially altcoins with respect to gold. Beautiful, beautiful. Because look at it. The trend is moving up and we're at a very much a low bear market low. Look, back in 2022, this whole bear market period, oh gosh, even 2020, 2019, 2020, like this red, look, when it comes down to this low red, this macro level, it's like a support. It bounces, it hits it and goes back up. That's what we're at right now. Look at it. Okay, it's not exact, but once it falls right through, this is the buying opportunity. So you, with respect to gold, with respect to hard money, we couldn't be looking better. Okay, this needs to come down a little bit. Once it comes down a little bit, again, the fact that it's also starting to like come downward at a slower rate is good to see. It's signaling similar to what Caspa was seeing over here. Well, this is in respect to gold. It's essentially bottoming. It's showing a bottom formation, bottoming out in macro indicators. This bottom is in forming that valley in terms of indicators, in terms of price. There's less sell pressure. So if we can keep within this level right here, within this triangle, bounce from this 5-cent mark, go to 6 cents, and keep bouncing around here, that's going to be beautiful to see in the coming weeks. But again, I'm looking forward. I'm looking long term, 2026. Mid 2026, we already know that Dagnite, VProgs, all of that exciting technology that's going to take Kaspa literally to rival and outcompete every single crypto in the industry. That's coming for about mid 2026. I was thinking it was going to be early 2026, but it seems like we need more developers, more hands on deck to be able to get that time in. Terra, it's like an AI, the child of Jonathan. It was saying gave a prediction for 9 months, which would put us about mid 2026 for the progs and Dagnite to release. Let's look at Bitcoin DOMs. Bitcoin DOMs is going down. Others, excluding the top 10, looking beautiful. And look at Bitcoin with respect to gold. So I did widen the channel. So there's room for Bitcoin to drop a little bit with respect to gold, but look at these indicators down here. It's coming back down. Okay, once this flattens out over here, that's going to be a very much a signal. It could essentially create a little bit of a bear market with respect to gold. And that's the buying opportunity. That's accumulation phase. We already saw gold. I mean, this is just like, it's unbelievable where gold's at. And the fact that it reached all the way up here, that's where you sell. I mean, look at this. This is a classic parabolic chart. And you got the lines, people lined up at some bullion, buying gold in person. These type of stores, the line is like 2 blocks long. That's exit liquidity. I'm going to be honest. Who cares? Gold's doing good. But the point is, this is a lot of liquidity that is going to move. Okay, this type of parabolic run, it's not sustainable. It's not going to just go to infinity. That's just not how markets work. This money is it's gonna come back down a little bit. Like look at it. Look at the chart. It's gonna have to come back down a little bit. Well, I'm looking on the monthly time frame here. I mean, let's look at 3 months. It doesn't get any better. Like it does. It's just a crazy pump. Okay, but you have to keep in mind that gold is pumping so much because people, countries, institutions are losing faith in the dollar. And that's been very clear. That trend has been happening. So we look at in terms of the global M2, the total liquidity of the fiat out in the world. And it is at pretty much an all-time high. There's no lead right here. This is literally the current global M2 supply. It's around $113 trillion. And what happens here is when it rises, it provides liquidity for markets, for example, for Bitcoin. So that's why quantitative easing, okay, this is basically a very bullish event from the Feds that in response to, for example, labor market's not doing as good, the economy's not it's not growing as well. They're going to inject liquidity directly into the markets, and that's likely expected to come in September, as soon as September. Okay, the next meeting for the Feds, to give possibly a rate cut, which is again a very bullish signal for possible quantitative easing in the future. That meeting is going to come October 28th to 29th. So that's something to keep an eye out. And what that means is when quantitative easing happens, that's like they're going to be printing money. And that's direct injection of capital into markets. The global M2 is going to rise. That's going to pump. And when that pumps from all this extra capital, the printing of money to help spur markets, that is going to be extremely bullish. Once the global liquidity of the whole world, in this case for dollars, once that pumps, that's extra money that has to go somewhere. Otherwise, it's going to lose, like you're going to lose value. As this continues to rise, the value of every dollar, of every paper money that you own, it loses value. So you need to ASAP, as soon as possible, move that money somewhere else to other assets, hard money, gold, Bitcoin, stock market even. But the point is that a lot of money, a lot of liquidity is moving around the place away from the dollar. That's the trend that we've been in, and that's a trend that's going to continue for the next decade. Yeah, there's going to be bear and bull cycles within the next decade, but the overall trend is that as this global M2 increases, it's going to power other assets. The dollar is going to look so weak. Gold's going to look strong. Bitcoin's going to look strong. And of course, by extension, Caspa. But Caspa is still technically a developing technology, okay? Until DAGNA, until VPROG, zero knowledge proofs, until that gets released, it's pretty much an emerging technology. It's not yet adopted. So we're going to see this similar, trading to similar to a tech stock. So it's basically similar to a risk-on asset at this period. But once we get all this development out there, we're going to have the chance to finally see that adoption, to see the development, to have people, not just investors, but also developers start FOMOing in to secure their spot in the next big thing. So once that happens, we're not just going to be investors, it's going to be institutions. We know wallet number 2 is not a retail investor. Wallet number 2, holding almost 1 billion, almost the largest supply of Kaspa, is not a retail. This is a major institution, likely Wintermute. Wintermute acting for accumulating supply, likely for Binance and possibly even other tier 1 exchanges. Wintermute works with all tier 1 exchanges, and they're a huge client for these exchanges, especially for Binance. They're very close with Binance. So there could be some backdoor deal, who knows what's going on, for them to accumulate and suppress price for this accumulation. So who literally knows? And there's theories going around that that even like gold, for example, the US could be rotating from gold to Bitcoin as we speak. They could have pumped gold to all-time high, sell high, and use that liquidity selling high. And they're selling on countries, by the way. I mean, this is not even institutional level. This is country level. They're selling it high, and they're using that liquidity to stack Bitcoin quietly while suppressing the price. Who knows? It's a moon theory. This guy's saying that gold prices plunging after reports emerged that geologists in Africa have discovered the largest gold deposit in history. A find estimated to boost global gold supply by over 10%. I mean, that's kind of wild. The fact that even you can't even mine, being able to mine over 10% would be like some guy was saying in the comments, it's physically not even possible to mine that much in a year. So it's going to take a while. Even if that report is true, it's going to take a long while to be able to extract all that gold, but markets could price it in. So in either case, the fact is that gold is not at a point where you want to be FOMOing in at this period. Okay, this is the time where you should be FOMOing in Caspa. This is the exact period. You have to get into this mentality that this is a long-term asset, and it's gonna need time to grow. For example, okay, let's look at this others chart here. Okay, this represents the others dominance with respect to Bitcoin, basically altcoins, and it from this period from 2021, January 2021 to January 2022. Okay, literally an entire year for the bull market, the bull cycle to happen. So people thinking, oh my gosh, the bull run's going to be over in 2026. Bruh, we need an entire year for the full-fledged bull market to hit these lower to mid-cap altcoins, the others. The others represents the altcoins, the crypto industry besides the mainstream popular coins like Bitcoin, Ethereum. This is essentially like the bull market didn't even hit. Okay, basically what hit was just the mainstream stuff, Bitcoin, BNB, the popular stuff. The whole industry is still at a macro low. So there's a ton of growth still left in the tank, but we're going to need an entire year. Okay, that was just 2021 to 2022. Let's look back at another bull run. This is February 2017, all the way to February 2018. Again, an entire year minimum. It needs at least a year, basically a year, to see that growth, to see that massive bull cycle growth. It was happened in 2017, happened again in 2021. We're going to need that whole year. So that's why I really do believe we're going to consolidate here until 2026. In 2026, I'm going to be extremely bullish. Charts look very good, in my opinion, where it's going to have enough time to consolidate at this low. And then 2026 going into 2027 could very much be the year for the bull market across the entire crypto industry. That's my is it copium? Is it priced in? Is it possible you could see the trends, the big open room, the room to grow on charts? Okay, that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm looking forward, and it's gonna also tie into very closely with Caspa's development. It's going to be releasing major Dagnite vprog zero knowledge proofs. Heck, throw in even base rollups from Eager Labs. All of that is going to release 2026, going into mid 2026, sometime in 2026. That's all going to be released. It's going to create a FOMO event, a FOMO frenzy. It's going to absolutely be able to take Caspa on its own bull cycle, regardless and independent of whatever the market wants to do. Once that happens, there's going to be nothing, absolutely nothing holding back exchanges from listing Caspa. Keep in mind, it costs a lot of money. I'm not just talking about coin supply to list Caspa. So, we're here like, we're targeting Kevin O'Leary. He's talking here about why Ethereum failed. The fees are so high, and it's just like a single road. It's a single road for all this activity. He's basically comparing it to like a highway. That type of comparison, it couldn't be more referenceable to Caspa. Caspa's block DAG, which isn't a single highway, isn't a single lane, but it's almost that like 3D lane. It's that the block DAG architecture allows multiple parallel blocks without sharding, because sharding essentially doesn't help with finality of transactions. Sharding makes it so you have to wait for every single chain. So every single chain is not like independent of each other. They're dependent on the wait time and the confirmation of every single block and every single chain. But Caspa doesn't have that. Every block mine, they're independent of each other. And that's what's going to be able to make it the most decentralized oracle in the crypto industry. So that's another crazy thing. And it's just wild. So I was saying something about the cost of integration for these L1s, for these for these tier 1 exchanges. It's massive. Okay, so they have to buy their own supply. Kraken already did it. Goes to show that big money isn't afraid of accumulating supply. Wallet number 2 is very much likely a tier 1 exchange. They're not afraid of accumulating Caspa. Okay, but that isn't even that's probably the easiest part. The hardest part is auditing the code. Okay, you don't have, this is avant-garde technology. This technology is alien grade. It's the best of the best. It's the leading. This type of stuff is what built the whole crypto industry. Jonathan Sampolinsky's work is what literally built the crypto industry. It's what built Ethereum. It's what made Ethereum what it is today. This guy, Jonathan, I mean, he is literally the Einstein of crypto. The work he has done, he is literally the most cited, besides Satoshi, he is the most cited crypto Bitcoin researcher. Crypto itself, he is in the top 3 to top 10. And these other people that are really highly cited, there are researchers in like price analysis and prediction markets, stuff like that, being able to analyze the prices. But we're talking about hardcore crypto researcher. Yonatan is in the top 2. He just below Satoshi himself. He even said, whether as a joke or not, that he lost his keys, referring to Satoshi. You know, why hasn't Satoshi moved his whole supply of Bitcoin worth over $100 billion? He lost his keys. He said that in a tweet. Yonatan said that in a tweet. Okay, whether he's Satoshi himself, whether Satoshi's a big group and he was part of it, who cares? That literally doesn't matter. He's even greater than Satoshi. The work he has done. So when you have work made by Yonatan Sampolinsky and Michael Sun, these people that are literally creating the technology that nobody even understands, alien grade, like how are you going to be able to audit it? So you need to have some extremely bright mathematicians and coders, developers to audit this code that has never been created. Nothing even is comparable to what has been created. The block DAG, Ghost DAG even. In upcoming DAG night, it's literally like, it is so hard to be able to understand fundamentally how it works. It took me so long to finally understand Ghost DAG. And gosh, DAG night is just a whole nother level on top. So you have to keep in mind that just currently Caspa's a whole code base to audit it by like the industry leading auditor. Okay. So I forget the exact name, Quant Stamp, I believe, that they gave a quote of an internal quote of $800,000 to audit the code base of Caspa. Okay, this is, and I quote Nick, what the heck is his name? Nicholas Sismil. Okay, he said that, he mentioned that, he has the inside scoop. So the fact that it costs $800,000 for Caspa, imagine that you're going to have to do another audit when VProgs release. That's a hard fork with the zero knowledge proofs and VProgs. You're gonna have to do another audit when DAG Night releases. Like that's a huge hard fork, a major change in the code base, like a major upgrade. Imagine you're gonna have to do more audits as Caspa continues to develop, because right now it is not in its final form. That's a lot of money. So why don't they just do one whole audit once everything's done developing? That is like a billionaire mindset. That is the mindset of these institutions, in my opinion, that it only makes sense to get this integration done when it's finally in its final form. That's something they could be waiting on. Okay, could they be waiting? They could be waiting on various things. For example, waiting on these different L2 protocols. That's something they could be waiting on. Waiting for Casplex to release their public nodes. Waiting for Eager Labs to release. There's going to be a whole nother protocol on the EVM. Like waiting for VProgs to release. That's going to be a whole nother protocol on the layer 1, like integration with Caspa. It's just so much there that these institutions really have to keep in mind, because this is no other coin besides Bitcoin has there been that they need to actually buy their own supply. There's not like a marketing. There's not a CEO. There's not a company behind the coin. There's no other coin besides Caspa and Bitcoin where this has been the case. So it is a dilemma, but it's not a trilemma, because Caspa solved the trilemma. So going back to these raids, we got Kevin O'Leary on here. We got Elon Musk targeting him. He wants efficiency. Caspa provides the greatest throughput per kilowatt. He was going into like detail about how he wants high energy, going on about how he loves Bitcoin because it's based on energy. You cannot fake, you can fake fiat currencies. You cannot fake energy. It's impossible to fake. And that's what goes into these miners. Okay, they provide a baseline value, underlying value for every single Caspa. It is created by energy, electrical cost. It's an fundamental underlying value of every single Caspa coin. This is something that proof of stake will never have, which is something that, that proof of work completely, once again, outcompetes proof of stake. Okay, you have this underlying value tied to every single coin. So here we go, looking at like the ASIC miners that are, and there's not many of them profitable. Look at it. Even the top one however, is still quite profitable per day. The second, so this is it right here. Okay, this is the one that's, what is it? The KS7, the 40 terahertz. So it's Gen 6. It's the latest one released. It's literally the last model, the latest model released May 2025, and it's still, it's still chugging away. So miners, especially this is industrial grade, you need some, custom little outlets and all that. This is not like really a home miner, but more so something you put in a shed or something you put in somewhere that you don't really sleep next to because it can get loud. That's why you could also use different shrouds and different things you can attach to it to make it quieter. But anyways, you see this type of price, it's always been profitable. Okay, not an issue. We go down now to the Gen 6, or sorry, Gen 5. The models that were just before that. It's funny, the Gen 1, this is like Pokemon. I was back down in the KS0 days, the first gen of ASIC miners, good stuff. So we are now Gen 5. It's basically break even, okay? 5 cent, negative 5 cent on profitability. I mean, it really depends how much your electricity is, where you are in the country, where you are in the world. I'm going to say it's break even. Right now, it's basically you're churning and you're not making anything. So, and it doesn't really show it here yet in the chart. It's still, the profitability didn't really update just yet. It says it's still profitable as of the last like 2 days by 1 cent. But when this gets red, it's a buying opportunity for miners. Okay, so still we see the industrial grade, the latest model, still very profitable. But we see here when the profitability went down in this model with this, now this is still not really a home miner, but still, when we saw the profitability go down, that's a period of time where these miners, instead of buying or mining more Caspa to sell, they hold their Caspa. And because why would they sell for negative? They need to hold for a period of time where Caspa rises in value, then they could sell if they want to, or if they need to sell. So when it turns negative, like it is right now, this is where they hold their Caspa and or buy Caspa instead of buying new mining rigs. So that is what's up. And now we have this is now 4th gen, this KS5 Pro. It's not profitable. Okay, we're down at negative $1. But however, if you have free electricity, for example, from solar or for whatever various reasons, you could be, of course, profitable. So here, it recently has not been profitable. Recently, since October, since basically the flash crash, it before then was profitable. Again, you see these periods of time where, okay, when it's not profitable, that's where you hold. When it is profitable, okay, you could take some profit if you're a miner or something like that. So right now we're back down. It's not profitable. This is where you hold. You buy Caspa instead of buying mining rigs. Now, why? Because these mining rigs, essentially, you buy them when the price is, I mean, to have bought mining rigs up here would have been the best thing you possibly could do. Buy a ton of mining rigs, which it could have been something Binance had been doing as well, buying a ton of mining rigs and then just selling the supply of, and then then they could have just bought the dip. But you don't want to buy mining rigs. You don't want to really mine Caspa you don't want to buy new rigs when when Caspa's at an all-time low. You buy Caspa when it's at an all-time low because, say for example, in the next year, you're going to continue to mine. But if now this rig costs say $10,000, so you bought the rig right down here for $10,000, let's say, and now you continue to mine, and after finally a year, you get let's say instead of 10,000, you get maybe 12,000 or $15,000. And that's what you get. But and say the Caspa price also rocketed up here, so maybe you get $20,000, something like that. The Caspa's price increased by 4x. It would have just been better to have bought $10,000 of Caspa down here than the mining rig, because you would have bought the bottom. As you mine, it's like you're mining. It's best for when the price is consolidating and very flat, or if it's going downward. That's where mining is like a hedge to having just bought and holding the coins. And mining it's like a strategic hedge. Okay, you mine when the coin the price is going down or it's flat, but when it's at a low, you buy the Caspa supply. You buy coins and you hold them. It would be just more profitable. This is a 4x in price. But if you mine for an entire year, maybe you just get like a 2x instead of a 4x. So that's the whole that's essentially breaks it down with mining and how it creates almost like a floor value. So this right here, this latest miner, it's just essentially creating the price, basically the kilowatt or the joules per giga hash, giga, man, I don't know these things, these acronyms anymore, I forget, but the watts, okay, it's the watts per Caspa. It's the amount of energy expended per Caspa. It's around this price. I mean, this latest model could still take if the price went down lower, it could still be profitable. So, I mean, the baseline value for a Caspa, for a single Caspa coin, I mean, it can be down to 3-4 cents, something like that, even 5 cents. It's a fair value for a Caspa, one single Caspa. So we're gonna see this whole range around here as fair value. Basically, as as long as this thing stays in profit. The moment this rig goes into negative, that's where we're going to know like the exact floor value for Caspa. We don't want to see that but the moment we do see it, that's where we're going to see very likely a bottom for Caspa in a short time frame. And I'm not talking about even macro, I'm talking about short time frame. If Caspa drops to a point where this thing is not even profitable, that's where you want to buy heavy. That's where you want to max bid on Caspa. And because miners will be on your side. They will not be selling for a loss. They'll be holding, and they'll be not buying new rigs, but they'll be buying Caspa outright instead of just buying new rigs. They're looking for profits. They're looking for money, like things that they can earn from. Maybe some of them you do it for a living. So you have to get into the mentality as well that these miners are, they're securing the network, but they're greedy. They're greedy and they're looking for money, and that's why we love them. It's a win-win scenario. So that's the deal with Caspa. That's why it's very much an incredible buying opportunity right now. Yeah, you can wait for quantitative easing to happen. You can wait for the liquidity of gold to move into altcoins, to move into Caspa. You could wait for that. You can wait for confirmation, or just buy it out, buy it straight up right now. Wait a few weeks. Do whatever you want. But the point is that we're at an incredible discount. And basically, I mean, I don't know a single retail that isn't buying right now. I don't know a single person that isn't buying. So people that still have liquidity, yo, what's up? I don't think there's anyone out there that still has any fresh powder left to buy. So what that means is that we need to hold. We need to hold our Caspa and withdraw it from exchanges, get it into cold wallets. And if you want to as well, if you want to maximize your exposure of Caspa, again, do it with a DEX, a Caspa DEX. Now I'm gonna post a video how to buy using Caspa on a decentralized exchange, because that's not removing Caspa from the ecosystem. That's keeping the total value locked, increasing. It's keeping the pair, like Caspa, staying within the liquidity pair. So if you're going to be trading Caspa for Nacho, for example, Nacho all time, it's at a floor value. I mean, literally just like Caspa at a macro floor. Check out with respect to Caspa, it's not really at a floor value with respect to Caspa, but it's at a low. So if you want to trade Caspa to maximize basically the leverage, the leading meme coin acts as the derivative of the native coin. That's what Nacho is. That's what has been. That's what it's been doing. So if you want to maximize your Caspa, with Caspa goes 10x, Nacho goes 100x. That's just how it goes. That's how it works. These meme coins, lower liquidity. That's the leverage. It's derivative. It's a lot more volatile. If you want to do that, use a Caspa DEX, because on a centralized exchange, you're selling Caspa for USDT, and they're then using USDT to buy, for example, Nacho. Just use a DEX, because a DEX does not sell Caspa. It essentially just swaps it. It moves Caspa. It moves Caspa to a liquidity pool on the DEX, and it's giving you Nacho in return. It doesn't remove Caspa from the ecosystem. So head over to ZealSwap, launch the app. This is the largest DEX on Caspa. It's also like the first one, but the main thing, it has the largest liquidity. Check out the liquidity here. And we're talking about 200,000, 300,000. It's a lot of money. And here they have Caspa as well, Casper, and other ones. There's a whole ton of tokens on here. once USDT, USDC also gets implemented on the L2, that's going to be able to drive a lot more. That's going to be the place to buy Caspa. That's going to drive a lot more value within Caspa and keep it there. The liquidity pair. So again, look at it. This is all in terms of Caspa. So you're buying Nacho, and if you buy Nacho with Caspa, that Caspa goes straight into the total value locked. It's going straight into the pool. It's staying as total value locked. It's staying as value in the ecosystem locked. It's not going anywhere. That Caspa is still there, providing value. So total value locked, it's like it literally represents how much money is in the ecosystem, how much money and basically confidence there is to lock liquidity in the ecosystem, in the L2, in Casplex. That's what it means on these platforms. It's a very great metric to see. So total value locked. I would like to see it also in terms of Caspa here, but it's showing 2.4 million. Of course, this was higher before the crash, but it's it's excellent to see. And all these different platforms, ZealSwap has the majority, but everything does its own. They're all doing their own work. So it's awesome to see. So you already know I'm bullish. You should be bullish. We check out other Qcoin, for example, a lot less liquidity. But again, the heaviest liquidity, a lot of snipers trying to snipe that 1 cent again. Is it going to drop down there? Who knows? But if it does, that's going to be the final crash. And if it doesn't fall back down to 1 or 2 cents, this is going to be FOMO money. This is going to be money that people are going to be using to pump up the price even further. If Caspa actually moves upward from here, which would be incredible to see, this money is going to be experiencing FOMO, fear of missing out, because they do not want to miss out. And if they start missing out, they're going to be buying a market price to acquire the Caspa that they've been trying to get. Because there's a lot of money still in MEXC, for example, that needs to be purchased. Outright market orders. We need to buy and take down these walls. I mean, look at it, all the way up to 10. Look at this, at 10 cents. I mean, this is $4.7 million, 55 million Caspa. It's a lot of Cas. It's a 55 million for real? Yeah, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Yeah, 55 million Caspa just at 10 cents. That's basically the bulk of the orders. Yeah, it still goes up to like 13 cents and then it thins out. You see, it used to have these sell walls all the way up at like 20 cents. It used to be all up here. So the fact that big money is now selling, maybe this is miners, who knows who this is, but the supply is moving downward. It's selling at a cheaper price, basically half. It used to be trying to sell up here, but they're willing to accept half as much money for the Caspa that they own. Once that gets bought up, boom, there's no stopping Caspa. There's literally, then we're going to be talking about dollars instead of cents. We're going to be looking at dollars. That's what we got to hold for. So there we go. Qcoin has down to 1 cent. What is this on Bybit? They have basically heavier liquidity at 1 and 2 cents. So that's what big money is trying to prepare for. Again, if it doesn't happen, it's bullish, extremely bullish. If it does happen, all right, we have some support back down there for the bounce to happen again, but I don't see it happening. Who knows though? Bitcoin and it could be experiencing a massive influx of liquidity powered by gold, powered by new money, the new money supply, global M2. So you just got to stay bullish. Okay, there's always ways to be bearish. There's always perspectives that can convince you to be bearish, but you have to stay bullish. This is when you have to stay bullish, especially in Caspa, especially this early in. This is the leading technology. That is no small feat. To have the leading, most advanced technology that crypto has been trying to achieve since inception, that's no small feat. You have to really, really understand what that means. Not just for today, not just for tomorrow, but in the coming years. You have to understand what that means. And that what it basically means is that Caspa is inevitable. It is the best. There's nothing that can possibly be better. There's nothing that can be possibly faster than the internet. Nothing that can be more possibly secure than the network of Bitcoin, the network of Caspa on retaining Nakamoto consensus on proof of work. There's nothing more secure than that. There's nothing more decentralized than then Caspa, even with the Caspa block DAG multi-leader consensus, you can't get a better network money than Caspa. It is both a network, it is both a data, it is both a data network, and it's also the purest form of money. So stay bullish, my friends. Peace out.